Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't you love this movie?
I hate The Dark Knight Rises.
This is my Blu-ray edition.
It would be 2 thumbs down. That was an appropriate response to this fucking film. So, we're talking about Christopher Nolan. Interstellar's coming out. It's the biannual tradition of the Christopher Nolan Fest.
Yeah.
It's much more muted this year. It
is definitely more muted. Yeah.
Exactly.
People will be like, oh, he's got a new film out. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Hasn't he retired yet?
Isn't he dead?
Yeah. He's got a new film, a new blockbuster. So let's take down his worst film. Now, I know that there are going to be people saying, if anyone watches it, that. I love The Dark Knight Rises.
It's more accurate to the comic books.
It's more accurate to the... It's the best one. Some people think, no, you're wrong. It's not even a good film. Obviously, you're entitled to your opinion, but we don't like it.
No, I don't care for it.
No, we don't care for it. We want to see this film burn in hell.
We could burn it if you want.
No, it's okay. You might want to watch it sometime.
I just remind myself, like, oh god.
You might want to... I've seen this film 3 times now. Twice in the cinema, once at home.
Oh god.
It gets worse every time you watch it. Yeah.
All I remember is the horrible attempts at humour and comedy.
Yeah, there's that. So basically, Batman has been retired for 9 years. Bane comes and makes a bit of a mess in Gotham.
Bit of a noise. Yeah.
Yeah, so Batman comes out of retirement to save the day one last time. That's basically the plot.
Then he gets brutally beaten down.
Yeah. So we'll get into brass tacks, but first problem with the film is probably the fact it's set 9 years later than The Dark Knight.
Yeah, we mentioned this for the Christopher Nolan video, but I was disappointed that Dark Knight Rises didn't pick up where the story left off. Yep. I mean, I think Dark Knight ends perfectly. I don't think there's any need for another one. Ends fine. And I was looking forward to see, okay, well, if there is going to be a sequel, you know, what's it going to be? It's going to be like Gordon chasing after Batman, and Batman's going to be like a proper vigilante, and maybe Gordon has to team up with a supervillain of some kind, so even Gordon's morally questionable now, and, you know, you could have all these interesting ideas doing that, but they didn't.
Yeah, they could have done anything, like, what would have been interesting... they could have done what they do in Batman Returns, your favourite film.
Oh, yes.
The Penguin could have risen as a politician.
Oh, yeah.
And then Batman, and then it would have asked all sorts of questions, because he would have been doing things for a legal way.
Yeah.
But he would have done stuff that was morally questionable. They could have tried... That would have been good. It could have fed into people's... Because he's all about making them about economic stuff, which there are some laughable attempts about with Dark Knight Rises.
All the Occupy Wall Street stuff.
Yeah, but he could have made it about how people distrust politicians and have a want for a vigilante justice, and people. They could have been a dichotomy about like this
or even
legal way, and
taking the law into your own hands. Batman could have led a revolution of vigilantes or something, and I don't know, something.
Exactly, they could have been, but that seems more interesting, doesn't it, than waiting 9 years and essentially just replaying.
Yeah.
So yeah, the film is set 9 years later for no discernible reason. It would have made sense if it was 9 years in real that time.
Yeah, yeah. It'd been 9 years since we wanted to visually age Batman. And there is stories about that. You know, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns is a comic book, and it's about Batman. He's an older man. He's retired. Basically, Gotham's gone to absolute shit. It's a crap hole, played by media personalities, and the Joker's become like a chat show host, and it's really weird, but it's really good. Yeah. And then Batman comes out of retirement to save the day, basically.
Oh, good.
And it's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You could do something like that, but we don't.
No, just don't really do much.
No.
With him, basically, Bruce Wayne has become a hermit.
Yeah.
And
almost like a Dickensian character.
Yeah, he basically has a humorous walking stick.
Yeah, and it's like what? So after all these years of his horrific Batman injuries, all he sustained is a slight limp.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And what's bollocks about the limp though is that he goes to a doctor who gives him a brace.
Oh yeah.
But it never makes any attempt to explain why he didn't have a brace in the intervening. Surely, if it was that easy,
he'd have thought, oh wait, I'm a rich billionaire playboy.
Yeah.
I could probably afford this.
But
he's depressed about the death of Rachel.
But yeah, no, and all. But it doesn't make any sense because it must impact his Bruce Wayne life.
That's true.
Just to think about it in terms like, what if he wants to? When he gets up in the morning, it's like, not like I should get medical attention about this. And it also implies that he's never had any medical attention because surely any doctor would tell him that.
Yeah, you need a brace or immediate surgery.
But yeah, we're getting into like petty things now, but there's much bigger problems. So then Bane comes.
I think enough has been said about Bane's silly voice at this stage.
Yeah, we'll not just take the mick out of the voice because at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. He has more of a. He's meant to be more.
What are you talking about? It is a big deal.
But yeah, played by Tom Hardy, and yeah, there's like, where's the Joker in Dark Knight had like a lot of ambiguity to it and stuff. There was interesting things going on there. Why we placed that with what essentially turns out to be, and this is a spoiler, a sidekick. It's like. The film, he doesn't appear scary at all, does he, really?
Not really. The only time he's a little bit intimidating is when he's at the bowl game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like he's blown it all up, he's killed them kids, and he's like, you will round up and pray to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. That's the only time he's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
But like, why? The only part of the film I enjoy is the whole idea of Gotham going into lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, like, they could have done so much with that.
That's like, only a really small part of the film.
That's a really cool part of the film. Why couldn't we just made that pretty much the whole thing? It could have been like Escape from New York.
Yeah.
But with Batman. Could have been awesome.
Yeah, there were a lot of problems with the film. I suppose that the biggest problem is, I think, is how just joyless it is.
Joyless movie.
Because I obviously understand the idea that with a trilogy you would naturally try and do opening, make it bigger in a second, and then an epic finale.
Yeah.
Like, ta-da, this is what we can do, and then, like, because obviously that's what they're attempting to do. They're trying to basically sum up everything they've done so far with this big epic story about a city gone to shit and its saviour.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work because, like, the city, it's just a completely, if you think about, like, how awful it would be and stuff, there's no real fun, is there, in the film?
Not really, no. They do make attempts at comedy.
They're all dreadful.
They're all awful, yeah. All I remember is there's that really weird scene where it's like the flashing lights and Batman's moving closer and closer and closer.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh. Then he goes like, oh. It's literally like that.
Yeah,
do you remember?
His face comes way too close to the camera.
But he's pulling a really silly face. He's like,
yeah.
It's just a bit silly.
Yeah, it's a really silly film as well, but also trying to be the most serious in the franchise.
Yeah. Like it's the most epic.
Yeah, this must be the epic conclusion to...
Batman must rise.
Yes.
Like,
there are a lot of bizarre sort of like big talk about Batman rising to as if it's preordained, which is a big thing with comic book things. But the whole purpose of Batman is he's not the Christopher Nolan one is he's a normal guy who's a bit of he's like an eccentric millionaire who becomes a thing to stop all the violence in his zone. Yeah. Not this big preordained. Plus that dream sequence with Liam Neeson.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, it has more. The strange thing about this film is it's trying to be the most realistic, will also have the most fantastical elements.
yeah, that's true. Can we talk about Catwoman?
Yeah, we'll get to Catwoman. So
we've talked about Catwoman.
Catwoman, what on earth were they doing building her into the film?
She contributes nothing to the story.
No.
She doesn't leave any kind of impact like Michelle Pfeiffer did in Batman Returns, or even.
Nostalgic for Tim Burton. That's
I know. I'm at that stage. I'm nostalgic for the Tim Burton films, or even like the ones from the '60s show.
Yeah.
Are better. I'd take Eartha Kitt over Anna Hathaway. I mean, I just don't think she does nothing as the character. She does no interesting spin on it, and she's not interesting as a character.
She's just a vaguely seductive.
Very vaguely seductive for a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess she's maybe like the femme fatale.
That she's meant to be the archetype femme fatale sort of like she lures Batman to his to the. But the problem is, none of the characters seem to find her attractive.
No,
which is like the whole Batman doesn't go into that bit where he fights Bane to fuck her. He does it because he... So essentially, the femme fatale is like, you get into film there, is meant to, like, seductively draw men to their demise for their personal gain. It's like, that's meant to be the whole point of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why they were such a big thing, because they had some kind of autonomy for women in the 40s. But anyway,
film history aside,
no one in the film seems to even recognise her as some kind of like sexual object until the end, where a sexual being, like, you know what I mean? She's like, she's basically like just seen as like, as a pawn in Bane and Batman's game.
It'd be fine, like, if the character didn't find her sexually attractive. The problem is like they don't do anything with the character. She's just a blank slate. Like, obviously not every single female character in the film needs to be the centre of the man's affection. But I mean, that's what they're trying to do with a femme fatale character, isn't it? Yeah. But they could have replaced it with something else. They could have had something else there. And they wrote a boring crap character. Regardless of the gender, she's just a crap character. She's got nothing to her.
She's got there's no to it and all. They didn't even play on the obvious stuff. But we were talking about it. There's a really tacked on love story though. Oh god. Because like, so this is the ending that we touched upon earlier with the Christopher Nolan stuff. In the ending, Batman runs away to, is it meant to be Paris with her?
Oh no. It's
vague Europe.
It's set up before.
Yeah.
It's pre-set up where Alfred says like, I'm Master Wayne. I like to imagine one day I'm on holiday and I'm sitting down having myself an ice cold beer, which is a very specific concept. I don't know how Alfred materialises.
Because he's British.
Oh, he's British. Yeah.
He's having a beer.
Yeah. And I'm reading my newspaper. I'm having my cup of coffee with my scrambled eggs. I peer over a table and I see you. When I was a young woman, might be a girlfriend, possibly a wife one day. You look happy. We look at each other, nod our heads, and go back to our business. And then it happens.
And it happens at the end. It's really telegraphed.
It's awful. And he's with Christian Bale's suddenly with Catwoman.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. I don't really get why.
Basically, I think what they were aiming for was that it was a dream. But this is what I mean though, like, none of the characters express any interest in her up until sort of the last... Well, he basically is beaten up by her, Batman, isn't he?
Yeah.
Beaten up by Bane because of her, and then the next time he sees her, he's just like, fine.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no motivation for him not to want to exact some kind of revenge or something, or like, why? She just becomes good for no real reason.
Yeah. I think the film's big problem is, I was talking about it in the last video about Christopher Nolan, where he has those scenes where it's for 360-degree angles and it's trying to make like...
Zimmer scores,
yeah. Trying to make like it seem like there's more happening than there actually is. I think Dark Knight Rises is the ultimate example of that.
Yeah, there's not as much going on as Nolan thinks there is.
Yeah. Essentially there's not much going on. It's basically a standard rise and fall and rise and fall story. Because he repeats the structure twice.
Yeah, so Batman rises and he falls. Well, the whole idea, what they were trying to go for, I think, was that he rises, he doesn't learn his lesson of something.
Well, that's the thing, like, if they'd established that, like, Batman goes in, he's a bit unprepared, he's not ready. You know, like, because they have scenes where Batman's kicking ass on his bike and stuff, and it looks like he's never stopped. But they had it maybe like, well, I've got to defeat him, I've got to fight him. And he goes and faces Bane, but he's so weak and he's not able to do it anymore, and Bane beats the shit out of him. And then okay, right, I need to get my moxie together, I need to do a Rocky montage, and...
Well, they try and do that in the prison sequences.
They do.
They're trying to build up the idea that he's got to fight Bane again.
Yeah.
There's a lot made in the film about, as well, that, like, Hope is sort of, like, what... Basically, to give the excuse that Bane keeps him alive, it's like, Hope is the last thing you need, and stuff. Like, there's a lot based on around the idea of hope and stuff.
Oh.
They're all... The themes of this are so vague.
Yeah, there's not enough. Not enough to it, I think, ultimately.
But yeah, that's like, the stuff he's trying to say, though, like, Nolan, is just so vague.
Yeah.
What is the film actually, like, the theme?
Rising. A character rising. But, like, if you want to see a character rising, just watch fucking Rocky. Yeah. Rocky does it better. Fucking Rocky 4 does it better.